Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mr. Roy, and I'm here to share another societal issues that oftentimes we overlook. All right. Recently I listened to Mr. Peter Obi talking to a group of policemen. Hmm, I really wondered where that happened. Well, he was talking to a group of policemen, and he was saying that the children of his mother's drivers went to the same school as him. You understand? So you have a driver in the house. The children of your driver are going to the same school as your own children. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, right? So it is clear that this man is not only, raising the standard for our leaders, he's also beaming the light on even the followers. And I said, so I have to do a video on this. I have to do a video on this. And this video is about the horror, right? The horror. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. This video is about the horror that our nannies go through in their oga's homes. A lot of people don't know this because when you go to people's homes as visitors, as family members, everything is arranged for you, so you don't get to see this. But for Mr. Roy, who has been into home lessons for more than 10 years, who manages a home lesson outfit with teachers in different states in Nigeria, we tend to see these things, and we think, or I think, is also our responsibility, since we have the unique opportunity to be able to witness these things, to also talk about it. The leaders are not only our problems. Yes, they are, they can get better, but we also have a role to play, if not for anything, for humanity. All right, so let me build a context. Who is a nanny? So you have a home that, due to the structure and the magnitude of the work, you decide to get an extra hand to help. So usually they do not go for, or you would not go for a graduate, a nurse that you pay above 100,000 naira or even close to 200,000 naira. You look for an agency where you can get a very young girl, usually, or a very young boy, usually under 20, a young adult at most. He's supposed to be in school, right? So he's supposed to be building a life all his life. Who you're supposed to be helping, even if they are coming to work for you. You know that you're a young girl, you're a young boy. I mean, are you going to do nanny forever? You understand, but you do not do that. So you go to the village, two scenarios, two possibilities. Sometimes they go to the village, they look for one of their family relatives, they talk to the father, they promise heaven and earth, oh, when your child comes, your child will go to school, I'll take care of your child. And more than 50% of the times, when the child comes, a family member, they don't do that. Oh, when your child comes, your child will be going for training in hairdressing, in nail polishing. That never happens more than 50% of the time. So let's just say 50% of the time. So the child just comes, you waste the time, 2 years, 3 years, and eventually something happens and the child leaves. That's one scenario. Another scenario, you look for an agency because there are agencies around that can help you find a nanny because you don't want to pay so much. You get a young girl from one village. Again, at most, a young adult. Everything I'm going to say in this video, every single thing, are things that I can bear witness to. 10 years, more than 50 clients, I can actually mention names and give specifics, but I will not, because the idea is not to pull anybody down, but to beam an intellectual light on this issue so that we can understand it and begin to find solutions as a society. Now, so you get the young girl from the village. You pay, on the average in Lagos, they pay like 40,000 naira a month. In this economy, you can imagine what that will what that would do. So they bring the young girl into the house, and the girl does a lot. Virtually 90% of the homework, like of the work in the house, right? So the children, they manage to do 10%. And that's me being conservative. And again, everything I say, I can prove, I can mention them, but there is no need to do that. All right, so let's talk about their condition in the home. So usually where they stay is usually okay. And oftentimes the sense I get, they don't do that because they want the nanny to be happy. They do that because the nanny, right, is not considered fit enough to mingle with the children. So she is technically, right, separated from the children. I'm not saying this because I don't understand that the girl you bring from the village, oh, you are a CEO of a bank, right? You are a CEO of a bank. That reminds me, some people actually just hire workers that come and work and go. That's more dignifying. So she comes in, she does the work for 4 hours, you pay her, and she goes. So she can go and live her life, plan her future, go to school, become a medical doctor. It is possible for a nanny to eventually become a medical doctor, successful, if only the society can do more for them and recognize them and recognize their rights. So they usually they have a good living condition, right? They usually have a room, but the sense, how do I know? Because the other things you're doing to her does not connote, does not imply that you truly care about them. You don't. You don't. There are very few people out of the 50 clients that I've passed through. I can count at least at most six different clients. Do you understand? That's like 12%, and that's a good figure. 12 out of 100, that means 88% of homes are not treating their nannies well. You can do the research. You may not know, but lesson teachers have the opportunities to be able to know these things. Okay, so the living condition is okay. Let's talk about their food. Most nannies in Nigeria, right, that I have seen, and I've seen quite a lot, they are not allowed to eat the food the children eat. What a way to dehumanize, to trash your esteem. So the girl wakes up at 3 a.m. while your children and you are sleeping. She wakes up at 3 a.m. to begin to arrange the home. And she fries the chicken, she fries the beef, makes the ogbono soup, make the afang soup, very delicious, very nice, does the suya, does the shawarma, and everything. But at the end of the day, after she's done serving, you pull out one garri and say, this is your own food. Like, no, 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 we can do better. Okay, we can do better. Please, we can do better. How do you expect that person to even see herself or himself as a human being? We can do better. We can just do better. I understand that, okay, the economy is not so good, but not to put one garri in a place and say, okay, when you're done serving the chicken, bringing the food to 16 and 14 and 20-year-olds in their bedroom, then when you're done, go and pull out the garri and drink. There are exceptions. I can just remember, but there's no point mentioning them. There are exceptions, but they live in the realm of exceptions. 12%. 12%. So that's the condition with their food. In fact, I have seen one that there is no food available for you in the house. So out of your 40, 30, 25,000, you have to go out. There is no car. I mean, most of these estates in Lagos, if you don't have a car, you have to walk. There is no driver that will even dignify you by taking you to the market to buy whatever you want. You have to walk after doing all that work. There are wicked people, though. In this country, there are a lot of wicked people in Nigeria, and we can do better. And as a society, people don't have to be good, but the laws have to be right. And that's one of the solutions I am going to suggest. Now, you have a young girl who should be in school. That's my pain. Because the truth is, like Peter Obi said, let me just put up his picture again. Like Peter Obi said, he noticed, or the mother noticed, that the children of the drivers were actually smarter than he is, or than he was. And you see, this smartness is not tribal sensitive, is not social class sensitive. A poor man's child can be smarter than your own child. An Hausa a girl can be smarter than a Yoruba boy. It is the condition, it is the culture, it is the experience that they are exposed to. And that's why when I see these young children on the street of Lagos, in Lekki, in Ikate roundabout, or in Marwa, or in Lekki, I feel so bad. You see a 5-year old just walking and begging for this guy, if you just expose him to the basic 1 plus 1, 2 times 8 is 16, and teach him the basic elementary concepts, you will be shocked. He may just have the capacity to become the president that changes Nigeria tomorrow. As a society, we have to feel the need of education. We have to understand the potential of education. We have to feel the pain when a young girl is being housed and caged in a house. Instead of her going to school, that young girl may just be the solution to your problems, and to your generational problems, and to the societal problem, and to the problems of the nation. But no, we don't do that. We cage them in our homes to help us sweep the floor, take care of our children, and we don't even care about their welfare, their lives. Every time I walk into a home and I notice an 18-year-old girl being the nanny, cleaning everywhere, the first thing I ask myself, okay, are you not supposed to go to school? Are the ogas not supposed to know? Are their children not going to school? What I hear is that, but we pay. We pay them. That's not the issue. That's a very myopic way to see the society. You have a role. You have a role. As much as I believe that the leaders have a greater role, we also have a role. Even if it's the minor role, we also have a role. And we must play it. If not, we may not have the moral ground to be able to stand and point fingers at our leaders. This hurts. You may not understand my pain, but if only you have seen what I have seen, you will. All right. Now let's talk about ops. You would agree with me that the nanny work is one of the most difficult work you can do. The one of the most underappreciated work you can do. The one of the most hidden work. You're working hard, but nobody knows. You're dying and nobody knows. Even when visitors come, all these things are polished. So they go through a lot in a cage and nobody is seeing it. Now you will expect that at least once in a month, once in a month I just mentioned, I know of a client that gives his nannies at least 2 weeks off, and maybe in 2 months or 3 months. So if you break that down, it's like 3 days in a month. Go and fashion your life. You can't employ somebody and expect the person to be your nanny for life. That's unfair. It's not as if you're saving money for her. Or when she leaves and she calls you that she needs help, you would even pick her call. We can do better. So most of them do not have ops, because the ogas know that they are not treating the nannies well. They understand that I cannot treat my child like this. Do you know, most of the ogas treat their nannies the way they will not treat their child. Let me add value to it. On the average, and I'm being conservative, if 0 is terrible and 10 is great, most parents will treat their children at the level of 9/10. They treat their nanny at the level of 1/10. Mr. Roy, why are you saying all of it? It is true. It is a pain that is hidden. It is a terror. A terror that is not being seen and not being talked about, but I'm talking about it now. We have to do better. So you expect that after all those hard work, you're waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., you have to go and wake adult children up. It's time to go to school. You fetch the water and make sure they have their bath. They will go to school. You probably follow them to school, because the mother wants the madam in the house don't want to stress herself. You follow the children to school. You come back. You're coming back to cleaning, to working, to cooking, so that when they come back, they have food to eat. You're still following to go and pick them up. When you come back, work continues. Like from 4 a.m., especially during school days, they work. Sometimes oga will not come in early enough. They have to wait to be able to give oga. So sometimes you're waking up at 4 a.m. struggling, and they go to bed at 11 after hard work. So you expect that such a person will be given a time off. Just go and plan your life, even if for one day. And the ogas tend to believe that they do not have any responsibility. What a wicked way, because in their hearts they will know. If they don't have any responsibility as an 18-year-old, they have parents to send money to in the village. They have brothers that are probably going to university. They have so many things to do with money. They have themselves to take care of. So most of them are not being given offs because the parents, the ogas know that they are not treating them well, and every opportunity they have to leave the house, they will never return. Do you know that the average lifespan of a nanny in any house that I have been to, and I've been to like 50 different houses, and I have teachers spread everywhere. Every home, the nanny does not last on the average 5 months. You hardly, but they exist. I can tell you an example, but I won't mention them. There's this house I am currently managing myself, and I've been teaching these children for like 4 years, and I met the nanny there. So the nanny has been there for 4 years. In fact, when the nanny goes for the 2 weeks off or a week, sometimes she really goes for long. But I mean, my job is not to calculate, but I see the flexibility. She goes out, even though when she's in the house, it's okay, you're indoors. But when you have your offs, go and plan your life. When she comes back, she loses weight. So the feeding is good in the house, but that's like 12% maximum of the situations that you have. So please, these nannies should be given off. They have a life, they have a right to life. It is modern day slavery. I am just telling you the fact. Most of our nannies in Nigeria, they are slaves. They are in slavery. All right, so we've talked about offs. Now let's talk about their salaries. I've mentioned on the average in Lagos is 40,000 naira. And if it's 40,000 naira in Lagos, it will be less in other states, generally speaking. Of course, they are on the page, especially when you have a situation where they have to get their food themselves. That garri that you're giving the child to drink, because of their vulnerability, they come across to me as children. And most of them, maybe not most of them, at most they are young adults. Because nobody wants to bring a matured woman into their home. So they go for young adults that are supposed to be in school. So usually they are underpaid. If I need to buy credit, I need to call my mom at home. In the economy, the cost of credit. So out of that 40,000 naira, they have to manage extremely to be able to pull out 10,000 and send home. No money saved, nothing being achieved. And usually when they leave the house, when they eventually leave the house, they leave with nothing. And they ask themselves, what have I achieved? And as ogas, we are okay with that. That's not good. And we have to do better. Now you think that that's the worst it gets. There is nothing I'm telling you today that I have not seen with my eyes. I have not heard with my ears. I have not experienced. I cannot bear witness to. I have not seen over and over again. Everything I'm saying here, without mentioning names, is exactly what is happening. But it even gets worse than that. Do you know nannies are being raped by ogas today? Yes, yes. It happens. It happens. I know of a client that before he employs a nanny, he looks at the picture. The picture is central to the employment. That means whether she is sexually appealing. Nannies are being raped and they cannot talk. And you know that they are coming from the village, a lot of them desperate. But as the oga, as the boss, and a child is in your house, you have more responsibility. So don't say that, even though you say, okay, they brought you into the house and you are allowing him to do that. Because after the rape, they keep quiet. They don't talk about it. But these things are happening. This particular person, since I've started working for him or for her, because I don't want to give any indication, any implication to imply anybody, I've seen more than 20 nannies in that house. And this same thing happens. All right, so nannies are being raped, they are being underpaid, food is not okay, no offs, they are being underworked, than not being cared for. And that is sad. And as a society, we can do better. Government should begin to look at these things. Because I am working for you does not mean I am a slave. I should be dignified. I should be treated as a human being. And another thing that happens that I also see a lot, that as an academy we also see a lot. Before I continue, please don't forget to subscribe, you like, you share, you subscribe to this channel so that we can continue to bring out this content that nobody talk about, beam intellect into it so that we can begin to understand the situation and find solutions to them. This particular topic is dear to my heart because it pains when you see a child that is young that should be in school being caged in a home that is dehumanizing the person, being enslaved, more or less, being enslaved. And I want to speak to the conscience of the bosses. Do better. Excuse me. You must do better. You must do better. All right. So another thing I also notice that hurts me is because, okay, the child comes to your house, a child is supposed to be in school, you're not doing anything about it. You're just okay. Some of them are even younger than their children in school. Your child is in school. This girl that is working for you is younger than your child, and she's just wasting. You're not doing anything. You're not pushing her to write WAEC, to write JAM. I know of a client that does that, but some don't. I also know of a client that insisted that Mr. Roy should teach the nanny, but the nanny refused. The esteem has been bastardized. She did not believe that she can do it again. And these are the intangible damage that we do to people when we dehumanize them. Okay. There are good bosses, but they are few. That's the point. The majority are not. They are wicked. Yes. Wicked. That's the word. Now, a nanny comes to your house, a young girl comes to your house, works overwork, wakes up at 4 a.m., goes to bed at 11, wakes up at 4 a.m. Nobody can sustain that kind of work rate. Nobody can sustain that kind of work rate. And the guys, usually they know. And that's why they don't give them offs. Do you know what they also do? They don't pay them for like 3 months so that they cannot run away. So an average nanny is being owed strategically to continually enslave them, which is sad. And this thing is happening Peter Obi, Labour Party, Tinubu, Atiku, we want to support a good leader, but where we lead, how are we doing? It's really sad. So they don't pay them for like 3 months so they can hold them back. And because of the huge amount, I know this video is getting quite long, but I'm just saying, I dey talk am the way they pay me. I'm saying it the way it hurts me. So the child comes to the house, starts working at a rate that is unsustainable. The child falls sick. The nanny falls sick. The nanny is not well. You know what they do? They give the nanny Panadol to take. And if the sickness is too bad, they offload the nanny. They say, go. They send the nanny away. Like, that's what they do. It's like a culture here. No responsibility over the health of the nanny. Once there is a trouble that they know will take their time and energy, the nanny is off. What a wicked life to live. It's really terrible. And these things, like I say, when you go to the house as a visitor, it is polished. It is polished. But this thing I'm saying, any parent that is listening to me, that is in Lagos, that is in Nigeria, can relate to it. If not them directly, their friends, they can almost point to 1 or 2 friends that treat their nannies like that. We have to do better. The society has to do better. What are the solutions? Really, there's no point talking about problems without preferring solutions. We have, I think at some point, I noticed that the National Assembly was trying to do something about domestic staffs. We have to enact a law. It's unacceptable that an underage child is in your house working for you. It is unacceptable that a child that is supposed to be in school is being caged in your house and not going to school. So I will suggest, If you must employ a child that is supposed to be in school, let's say under 26, below 26 years, you must ensure the education of the child. You must ensure the education of the child during the time the child is in your house. However you're going to do it, if you cannot afford that, you go for overage mothers, women, and see whether you can maltreat them the way you're doing to these children. So that's my number one solution. Laws should be made to ban underage domestic workers, and workers under 26 years, the boss should ensure their education during the time they stay with them. So those are my two solutions, and I'm sure so many solutions can come up when we start thinking about this. But it starts with understanding the issue, accepting that there's a problem in our hands, and so that we can find solution to it. I'm going to stop the video here. I've spoken so much. I believe passionately because this is what happens. And do not say that, Mr. Roy, what you're saying is not true. It is true. It is true. People are being enslaved. We talk about modern day slavery, on CNN. It's here in Nigeria. It's here in Nigeria. People are being enslaved. After all the work, the person gets sick. You tell the person to leave. You get another nanny the next day. Oh, that is sad. We must do better. We can do better. Once again, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the New Legacy Academy channel. Have a wonderful day and bye for now.